Hello and welcome back to the channel. My name is Dan, and a little bit of a sneak peek of what's to come today. We've got a giant barn that I'm building. Now, I had a little bit of an issue with some of my recording. Kind of happens when you're also streaming at the same time, so sorry for the little kind of cuts through time here, but we're going to build a giant monstrosity using a ton of different materials, one of which are these beautiful little pink trees. They're cherry blossom trees, but I call them pretty little pink things. Anyways, and we're going to get this barn built up today, and we're going to get a start on an actual house, hopefully. Again, this is taking a lot of materials, and I've been just constantly cutting down trees for wood and to convert into charcoal to cook up all my food and smelt glass and things of that nature. The next big priority, though, is going to be getting some enchantments, because my poor axe, I'm just burning through this thing, even with unbreaking. So we're going to build up the barn, which you can see here. We're going to fill it in with a little bit of infrastructure, which you can kind of see. And then we're going to start on a house. And that's going to be kind of my permanent home for the time being. And there's lots of little odds and ends we're also going to get to today. But the big ticket items, we're going to get a house built. And, well, maybe not the house, but we're going to get this barn built. And we're going to get the foundations of a house going. So be sure to subscribe, click like, leave comments, share the video, and if you want to see what happens between the videos, come over to twitch.tv/fire_fly_207, link in the description, and you can catch up on my streams, which for the time being are pretty well every day. So let's dive in and get some building done. I have severely underestimated the amount of resources I need for this little project, because this little project turns out to be much larger than I really realized, I guess. While we wait for all those trees to grow, I've gathered up the resources required to build a little bit of an infinite lava farm. So we're going to do that now. This is a super simple little farm. Basically, need a couple of cauldrons, some lava, and the pointy dripstone is the most important part. Now, I only have 3 pieces. Well, actually, I have 4. But we're going to use one of them to grow ourselves some more. And that is also a very simple farm. Instead of lava, you just use water. So now we're going to have infinite lava, which we're going to use for fuel, for smelting, and cooking. My vision with this barn or warehouse is commercial sized. So we're going big, and that's why I'm out of resources. And I've taken my inspiration for this build from those giant commercial hay barns that you'll see passing on the highways in my case, in Alberta, Canada, or I'm sure in the United States, in the plains areas. And it's just a massive building which has access pretty much through all of one side, through massive overhead doors or kind of hangar style doors. And I know those aren't going to be easily replicated in Minecraft, but we're going to go for something that's going to have a similar look, and it's going to be large enough to be able to, say, park heavy equipment in, or house farm animals, stuff like that. And then we're going to add on to it even more so, and give it a little bit of a story. Like, it's been hit by a tornado during a bad storm season, so they've had to rebuild it and upgrade and repair, and they've moved the housing, or the staff accommodations, to the backside of this building. Now, that's going to be a fun little section to build, which hopefully I get to today. I'm just sitting here eating fish, and something doesn't look right, and that's when I kind of realized I built the whole thing off by 1 block. So now we get to do that whole tear it down and move it over one. So at least I'm glad I caught it now, before I had, well, I don't know, say a roof or a wall being built, because that would have made it much, much harder to clean up. Right now, it's just break 8 blocks and move it over. The lore of this building, this is the housing for the staff in the area, the workers. And it's the newest addition to the building, so it's going to have the most modern materials. And I figured that mangrove was going to be an excellent choice here, just because it's a little different and it's much brighter and more vibrant. And there's lots of other options that I can use to work with it, and it'll still look good, even though it has to fit into an existing build. Now, the original build, which is kind of the area that was damaged during the tornado that hit in my fictitious story, this is going to be made out of jungle planks and acacia logs. Now, the reason for that is it's a little bit older looking, it's a little more weathered and worn, and that kind of fits the whole theme of this part is older than this part, which is older than this part. Now, the middle section, that's going to be the one that's going to be tough to tie everything in while still looking like it was just plopped in as an afterthought. So hopefully you guys can leave comments below and let me know how you feel I've achieved that once we get there. I'm once again reminded that this is a lot larger than I originally anticipated building it, so now I get to go cut down some more jungle trees. Since I need to keep going up and down a 10 block tall structure, I decided to add some ladders, and this is now the part where things are going to slow right down, because my building skills are severely lacking when it comes to the block placement of these kind of funky blocks. And stairs and slabs are the ones that I struggle with the most, and I constantly fall off while trying to place them, or I just place them wrong. And I'm sure in time I will get better at that. I decided to actually go with acacia planks here and the stairs and slabs because it seems to work very well as kind of a middle ground between the mangrove and the jungle. And as a little bit of a fun fact, I learned that if you have an open lava source within about 4 blocks of wood, the wood lights on fire. So now I have a big ugly block of cobblestone in the middle of my little base. As I'm putting the final planks into place in the roof in this section, I've realized that bamboo is what's going to make this little area look so much better than I had anticipated, but I don't have any bamboo. So once I get these planks placed, we're going to go on a little adventure, find some bamboo, and get that growing. Well, a few thousand blocks and a couple of hours later, I'm going to spare you the inconvenience of having to watch me boat around for that long. We've got bamboo, and I made sure to grab as much as I could from the area that I found. We're going to grow up as much as we possibly can, and we're going to carry on with building. There's a bunch of different options with the bamboo. We can go with the planks, we can do the log type things. I think we can get stairs and slabs as well, but I like the planks in this application. Just very basic, very simple, but it works, and it definitely gives it that character that I'm looking for, where it's kind of a cheap add-on afterthought kind of building. So we'll carry on, put this all in, and see what we can do to make it a little more detailed at a later date. I'm thinking that cherry logs are going to make an excellent accent to this kind of color scheme. Yep, I think that looks great. Let me know what you think. All right, so we have the basic structure of the barn. There's no real walls, and there's absolutely no detailing on here yet whatsoever. So please keep that in mind. I just wanted to get the actual structure built. Then we'll worry about some details and how to blend the different colors and different sections together. There's a couple of little areas that I really don't know what to do with because they don't fit anything. Just around the back here, because I wanted this to look like an add-on, the sides don't really line up, and there are some very obvious differences in the heights and widths. So we're going to have to figure something out there. And I also am getting very tired of hearing these cows and chickens. Somehow there's even sheep in here now. So I'm going to have to either find a more permanent home or just get rid of them. I've made a lot of progress on the barn, so I think it's time we concentrate on a home for me. Now, this little peninsula here is perfect. Sort of. I'm going to have to make some changes because obviously it's very up and down and not very flat, and it's also not very nicely shaped right now. So I'm just going to take a few minutes, clear this all out, kind of flatten it off, give it some shape and definition, and then we're going to kind of lay out a new home for ourselves. An efficiency shovel makes this so nice and quick, but I do need to keep as much of this as I can because we need a bunch of glass in the coming videos. With our area all flattened out and cleared out, we can begin laying out a foundation for our home. Now I've chosen to use cherry logs as kind of the base foundation, and I think we're going to end up with some either mangrove logs or possibly pale oak. I'm not sure yet, but we're going to start by laying out the shape and the foundation for now. Been playing around, got a rough shape in place, and I think I'm going to actually go with stripped logs. They're going to change the overall appearance at the end, but I think it's going to be for the best. So we'll spend a few minutes doing this, and then we'll carry on. I'm not the most artistic person in the world, so it helps if I have visuals. And I've laid out a few logs, I've stripped them, and I really think this is going to be the best way for me to figure out what's going to look good. And I'm kind of leaning towards the acacia right now for the upper structure. Once again, I have run out of resources, so I'm just going to jump up and down with joy that I've got at least this far, and I'm going to go chop down a bunch of trees, do some fishing to get some experience levels, and kind of plan the rest of this build. So as you can see, we've got a little bit of an add-on in the back here for our enchanting room. I found some pale oak while I was going to get some bamboo, and I went ahead and filled this in on stream. We've got some beautiful white concrete powder, and it works so well with these mangrove roots. It'd be really nice if I could get kind of a hanger door or something like that in Minecraft. So like a 5x5 that folds, but that's never going to happen. Not in vanilla anyways. So I've gone ahead, filled in this little area. I'm not too happy with it, but I don't know what to do there. So please, if you have any suggestions, how do I blend the original to the repaired and additional sections, if that makes sense? And one thing that I've realized I forgot to update was I made the lava farm quite a bit bigger. Just kind of sat around and waited until we got more dripstone, made some more cauldrons, got more lava. There was a little bit of an issue when I was building the roof. Apparently, if you don't cover a lava source block, wood that's within a few blocks will just catch on fire. So yeah, that was a thing. Had to put some stone on there. Kept running out of dripstone because I didn't have enough. I'd only found 3 or 4 of the pointy. So I found out you could actually grow it yourself. So I whipped this little guy up, and it's pretty well done its job. So I'll be cleaning this up at some point, and we'll just have an empty space here. So I've been very busy, and we got extremely lucky. We had 2 wandering traders back to back that sold dark oak saplings. You may have noticed that my skin has changed. So another thing that I did, I went ahead and looked through all the skin options I have, and this is the one that I originally had. Because I never knew where that kind of Roman soldier look came from. So not sure what happened there, but we've gone back to our original skin. And it's about halfway through this video that changes. I've also decided that I'm not going to be wearing a shield when I'm doing my filming, because it gets in the way when you're doing this. A little bit of a sneak preview for the stream. We're going to go collect some villagers. And this is the first half of the railway network that's going to bring them over here. With all that amazing progress done today, I feel like this is the perfect spot to end it. We're going to pick this up next time, where we're going to complete that little house I'm building, hopefully do a little bit of terraforming out in the bay, build myself a beautiful little beach. The stream's coming up. We're going to be going and liberating some villagers to hopefully get some enchantment books going. I also have to go to the Nether. So in the next couple episodes, we're going to be really busy. If you enjoy this sort of content, be sure to subscribe, leave likes on videos. I love a good share, and I obviously enjoy having conversations with all of my viewers, whether that be during the live streams or in the comment section of YouTube. So thank you very much, have yourselves a wonderful day, and we will catch you on the next Minecraft adventure.